left foot. And we're going to put the tennis ball underneath the left foot, the toe mound. So that's the widest base of the foot. And I'm going to have you roll from the big toe and down towards the heel. So you're kind of rolling up and down the arch. Yeah. So go from big toe to the heel, and then up to the second toe and back down to the heel. And she's kind of standing in a staggered stance, so she maintains balance. If you really have trouble with balance, having a wall nearby would be very helpful, or even having your hand on the back side of a chair. So she's rolling and applying as much pressure as she wants, pushing through the line of each toe and back to the heel. So back and forth in this up and down motion against the sole of the foot. The more she pushes and bends into the knee and applies the pressure, the more she's going to feel. So depending on how sensitive your feet are, you're getting to choose the amount of pressure that's applied. And remember, I said that fascia runs in all different directions. So after you've done that, up and down, you're going to start to go back to the toe mound, the widest edge of the foot, and you're going to go, back and forth, right to left. And there may be some really sensitive spots there. I know there is for me. So if you feel those sensitive spots, those are called trigger points. And we're going to allow a little bit of weight to push in with a soft bend to the knee. You're going to push into that trigger point, breathe 2 or 3 breaths, and then release it and move to the next point, side to side. And Angela is going to work from the toe mound, just beneath her toes, back and forth, right to left, all the way down towards her heel. So through that whole length of the arch. Anytime she finds a tender spot, she's going to apply the pressure. Push a little bit into it, so it's almost like she's trying to squish the ball into a flat ball. And then 2 or 3 breaths, she'll release and continue to move. All right, so the next step is to bring the ball all the way back to the heel. And you're going to push down into the heel like you're smashing it into the floor. And you can let your toes come down to the earth and relax. So give a little bend to your knee. And then if you want a little more pressure, you might bring your hands to your thighs. So the more she leans forward, the more weight there is pressing down into the heel. So we're going to work through 5 points on the feet, the heel being the first point. She'll give 2 or 3 breaths there, then we'll release. And you're going to slide it so it's just about between the heel and the arch. So not quite that far, a little bit. Yeah, so your toes can come back down. So she's halfway on the heel, halfway on the back of her arch, and then applying the pressure again. Now, of course, if this is really sensitive for you, you're going to stand up and just allow the weight of your leg and gravity to be enough for you. You could also be on a chair or against a wall if you needed that added pressure. So let's release, and we'll slide forward a little more. So now we're on probably a pretty sensitive part of your foot, that arch. The toes and the heel may neither be on the floor. So it depends on how big your foot is or how tight your foot is. Fully on that arch. So applying again pressure as much as feels safe and comfortable. And we'll give 2 or 3 breaths there. And then we're going to release from that. She's going to roll it forward. So now it's just on this back edge of the toe mound. So for me, this one's the most sensitive of all. Her heel will be on the floor. Her toes are going to be elevated. And she's going to try to spread her toes out, creating space in between the toes. Now, this is more sensitive. You want to make sure that your knee doesn't go past your ankle. You want to stay right in alignment. And if she can apply the pressure, she's going to bring her hand to her thigh. 2 or 3 breaths. Is that pretty sensitive?
Not so bad.
Not too bad? So because this is the widest edge of the foot, and depending on if you have wide feet or not, You may want to move your foot a little to the left or a little to the right and see if you find a trigger point in that part of the ball mound, and then apply the pressure in that trigger point. And the last spot, she's going to release off and roll onto the toes. So now when you're on the toes, you really want to try to spread your toes out over the ball. Almost like you're going to pick up the ball with your toes. And she's spreading the toes. Sometimes my little pinky toe tends to hide, so I might bend over and spread that toe out and allow it to have more space. Angela has pretty good spacing between her toes, so she's able to do this pretty easily. And she's again applying any pressure there that feels good, pushing down into the ball, squishing it. Good, so release off that side, completely step off the ball. Yeah, and take a moment to feel in both feet. She's standing in mountain pose, noticing if anything feels different. So she's probably going to feel a difference between the right side and the left side, the side that we worked and the side that she hasn't worked. You feel a little difference? Yeah, like more blood flow, more energy to that foot. Maybe even a tingly sensation sometimes, I feel that. Good. So let's go ahead and move on to the next foot.